HaKadosh Baruch Hu works in quite marvelous ways, and uh, like you said, it's not over yet, and we can't really. I mean, I think with respect to Jordan, what's just happened in Syria um, is instructive in that since we have a peace treaty with Jordan, um, you can talk about the lands of Reuven and Gad and Manasseh, and those were ours once, but it becomes hard to imagine a situation in which those again become lands where Jews might live under current circumstances until you look at the things that have happened recently, like in Lebanon and Syria, and then you say, oh well, so you know I may not be the one to force that situation, right? If we don't want to do those kinds of things ourselves, then for the same reason that we just occupied Syrian territory, we could end up occupying the lands of Reuven and Gad and Manasseh if a sort of ISIS-style Sunni jihadist militia takes over Jordan in the way they have Syria, and so it's really up to Hakadosh Baruch Hu when and how he wants to do these things. But it's like with the snap of the fingers, he can by no mechanism that seems unnatural or impossible, he can suddenly tilt the scale, and then the circumstances are such that things that seem like that's never going to happen are suddenly necessary. And they'll be accomplished by people who have no shred of messianism or biblical thinking in how they approach military strategy, but they'll just be like, look, we don't have a choice right now. Which is what's just happened in the Syrian Golan, right? It wasn't, these wild-eyed, messianic, religious Zionist rabble that forced us to conquer Greater Israel that made it so that we moved in and occupied the Syrian Golan. It was just, look, there's a power vacuum. What else are you supposed to do? It's clear as day that it becomes more danger to you if you don't do anything like that. So, and I think that moment actually, where specifically this point with the Syrian Golan and what just happened there, not to mention this thing happening also with Syrian Druze who are now saying, no, take more land, please. But that moment, what's so stunningly clear about that is that it takes the whole paradigm of security that has ruled the thinking of the top brass of the IDF and the political leadership for the most part in this country for decades, and just makes a joke out of it, right? Because this is something that people in other terms have previously asked in ways by saying, okay, if you created a Palestinian state, why wouldn't it just be conquered by Syria the next day, right? Or what's to stop another country in this region from swallowing it up? Like, have you checked and made sure that everyone agrees that it's really important that there be a Palestinian state, or is it just a pretext to get the Jews to leave? And then, why wouldn't another larger fish decide to make a meal of it afterwards, because they don't actually care about this fantasy of statehood for this invented subpopulation of people just like them, right? So if you think of it in those terms, then we just took over territory from Syria um, without any kind of major division within the society over whether or not it made sense to do that. And if you had tried, a month, or I guess even a year ago, whatever, to say, let's go conquer some land from Syria, then it would have been like, what, are you insane? Of course we can't do that. That's outrageous. But that's because we usually are setting policy based on a fantasy about what the Middle East is. And if you actually just set policy based on the reality of what the Middle East is, then these kinds of actions are not just possible, but they're necessary in order for you to do basic things for the sake of your own security. And so it turns out all of the wild-eyed Messianist, land-hungry Greater Israel lunacy or whatever, everything the left has accused the religious right of for until decades, that turns out just to be the way you maintain hydrostatic pressure on your borders while all the predators are swallowing each other up enough so that you can maintain security for your own people. That if people aren't afraid of your taking land, then they already are on their way to kill you.